Hey, what's up everybody? Alright, I am back here on the YouTube. I took a week off there, just kind of got everything settled after the show, did some traveling. Should have some footage out about that. Went down to Dallas, had a great time. And just, doing all those things you need to do after a long prep. Taking care of business things, getting caught up with clients and everything like that. So, today Fuad announced that we are no longer, Ivana and myself are no longer with Hosstile. This video isn't about that. I was just going to address that here today. We are in the works of, finding, a new beginning in regards to sponsors. And so that's in the process right now. And I will be talking much more about that here the days to come. So like I said, I wasn't really ready for it to be released yet. So, we got to do things on our end to make sure we're set for the future. And so we're in some talks right now. And I will inform you right when I get everything finalized. All I know is that we are extremely excited for what's ahead. With that said, today is a Q&A day. I haven't done one of these in a while. I put it on my Instagram to do a Q&A, and the response was tremendous. So I probably picked, probably 50% of them here. I mean, there was probably two. When we don't have that much time, I don't want to keep you guys for hours. So I'm just gonna, kind of rapid fire this, and I picked the ones I think are going to be most beneficial across the board. Ranging. There's some just about prep and stuff, some about general life, some about food, some about supplements, some about the process of body, but just a little bit of everything. So I want to kind of cover all bases here today, and that you guys know a little bit more about me, but also learn something from me as well in your own fitness journeys, in your own just your interest in bodybuilding. And so I'm going to give you my experience, my knowledge. It might not be the greatest, but it's it's there. So we're gonna bring it to you here today. So with that said, let's get this Q&A started. These first couple questions are all kind of from friends, so I'm just gonna shout you guys out. The first one is Hunter Labrada. You ask, when are you coming? This is more of a personal one. So when are you coming to Houston so you, Ben, and I can wreck some shit? So Hunter, if you're watching this, we are gonna be down there in June for the Branch Warren show. So I will plan on, extending the trip there a few days, and we can get some good training in. So end of June, I believe it is, so we will be down in Houston. Another one here from another fellow competitor is from Urs, the Miracle Bear. He goes, no more training or no more sex. That might be the hardest question in this entire thing, because those are two very important things in my life. So I don't know, man. We're just going to skip that one. From Ross Flanagan, he asked, from Flavorgang official, Mr. Ross, he goes, how are you doing mentally? What's next for Brett Wilkins? So, I've had time to reflect on the Arnold competition, obviously, and it's one of those things that, I went in there, obviously, you're thinking or wanting to be, top 3 battling out for this spot. Along the process, we didn't get the peak down right, and I'm just going to be 100% transparent with you guys here, and that's what I want to do on my YouTube. So what we did was we kind of, we were shooting for more of a size game. We told ourselves, Matt and I, so this is mutual, we told ourselves that, I've added, 8 to 10 pounds since Chicago, which was only 7 months ago, with a 3 or 4 month off season. And so we kind of, dove into that, as well as dove into kind of the hype of, putting on size so fast, what I've done in the years past. But in reality, looking back at it, I probably put on like 4 to 5 pounds, which honestly, that's amazing. In a 7 month period, a 4 month off season, 4 to 5 pounds is really, really good. And that's more so what we should shot for. So we were kind of in our head that we needed to be like 250 on stage. And, we ended up being there, 249, 250 for the stage weight. But, looking back now, I would have been much more me, me and better with, being about 245, 244 pounds. Because that would have been the focus on conditioning, which, that is, what in my past, that's what I'm all about. And that's kind of what placed me well before. So we should have continued to, focus on that. And that's just a hard thing to do because, it wasn't like, I definitely could have done, more cardio to get there. That's not the point. Is we were eating to stay at 250, but I should. And we thought we were sharp enough, but in reality, looking back, I wasn't, because those guys. You think about it, I was 250. I was the biggest I ever was on stage, and I was still, 25 pounds less than Samson or Steve Kuklo, you know, and those guys are just bigger right now. So I needed more so for that show in general. This show right now, or this show, you know, the Arnold, is I should have stressed more the importance of still conditioning, obviously, and not so much about trying to play a size game with guys that have been doing this for years, you know. So I, you know, and then this was 1,000% my decision. I told Matt, I said, I'm going right into a rebound phase here, and we're gonna put on more tissue. So next time, I'm not even gonna look at the scale. We don't need to look at the scale. We just need to get as shredded as I know I can. With that said, leading into when I'm going to compete next, I am not sure yet because I'm more focused on this process, this rebound phase into a good off season. And then, you know, we can look at the end of the year. You know, if it goes fast enough, maybe the last qualifier before the O this year. If not, there's shows later this year. Or if, you know, we're progressing and we like what we look, it's maybe early next year or right back to the Arnold. So it's all kind of up in the air right now. It's more on like a performance base, more off a look. We have a lot of things. I have a lot of things to do right here coming up. Like I said, you know, you're doing the sponsor stuff right now. I have like 6 guest posings, a few guest appearances. So it's like I'm just gonna enjoy myself these next couple months. You know, stress free and grow like the way I know how to. And then when the time is right, we're gonna diet down. And you know, and I'm gonna do it a different process this way, and it's gonna be very, very good. So that's where I'm at with everything, with the competition sides, with how the Arnold went, with what's next with the shows. So I just wanted to kind of knock that out and get to you guys personally here instead of just, you know, reading things and stuff like that. So next we got what's a full day of eating look like going into your off season. You know, I'll do one of these coming up, but right now, you know, I'm already probably eating 4,800 to 5,000 calories. Even when I was finishing in prep there, I was still at like 4,000. So this is just a gradual push up for me. Like I said, I have a very, very high metabolism, so I have to eat a lot of food. Difference between using cream of rice versus cream of wheat. Well, the biggest difference on that one is rice based and one is wheat based. So it matters what kind of source of food you're wanting there. So if you're looking, you know, I stick with cream of rice because that's what I eat with the majority of my meals. It's either rice or oatmeal for carbs. Rice obviously digests faster. You know, it's going to be probably a little bit easier on the stomach. I don't know. I've never really done cream of wheat. It's probably tastes about the same, but it comes down to digestion. How many sneakers in your collection? So we got some sneakers questions. I'm not a sneaker head. I mean, you guys might think I am because, you know, I mix it up pretty well, but I probably have about 15 to 20 sneakers, but I'm working on it, you know. I've got a good collection going right now. So I'm kind of getting into the game. I'll never be deep into the game where I'm like hoarding them and selling them. I actually wear my sneakers, so if I get sneakers, I'm going to wear them and show them off. So you'll continue to see that grow. Maybe as I continue, you know, just need to keep making more money so I get more sneakers, you know. Getting into this training here. Favorite body part to work out? My favorite body part, you know, right now especially, and it has been for a while, is back. The reason for that is just because there's so many different back variations. Your go-to for nutrition, your go-to ground chicken, ground turkey, or chicken breast, and why? I actually personally don't eat much ground turkey. You know, I'm not too much of a fan of it in general. I like chicken more, so I either do ground chicken or chicken breast. And honestly, 80% of the time it's chicken breast, just because that's easiest, most accessible. You know, there's different ways to cook it. Grill it, you know, oven. You can shred it up, but that's what I choose usually is chicken breast. What's your favorite snacks? More food here. What's your favorite snacks? All-time favorite? Oof. I don't eat too many snacks now. Besides Fat Polly's cookies because they're very good, and right now I'm very on my Fat Polly's kick. But one snack that I'll give you guys a random snack that I used to eat, and maybe somebody can relate to this, but for some reason it was always in my house growing up. It was Fig Newtons. I don't know if you guys remember what those are. They was those little cookies with like, oh man, I can't even explain it. Like, you know, a fig middle, I guess. It's almost like a jelly filling kind of thing, but they were always in my house growing up, and I always ate them. I think it's because my dad had them there, but I don't know why I just thought of that. I kind of want a Fig Newton right now, so maybe I'll get some of those and try them again and see if they're as good as I remember they were. You gonna make any more shirts? I want to buy one. Yes. So I got a lot of shirts. This is actually kind of a prototype that I've never even sold or whatever. This 3/4 sleeve. So I'm messing with a lot of new shirts. I got a new new person that's going to be creating these. I'm getting linked up with them, so I'm going to get more of, kind of a drop schedule going. So it's going to be like every 2-3 months, take a little bit more out of my hands and put it on theirs. Obviously mine will be the designs, the ideas, but they'll be handling the printing and the sending out and everything. So, fulfillment part of it. So, a lot more shirts coming. So, keep that interest. I appreciate it, you guys. And I will be posting about that here soon. Do you wish you would have started bodybuilding earlier? That's a great question. This is one I kind of always bounce back and forth on. I do wish I would have started a little earlier, because many of you don't know, but I didn't start until I was 28 for competing wise. I started competing when I was 28, went pro at 29. Now I'm 33. Just starting to get into the prime things in the open bodybuilding. But I wish I would have probably started more of like my not really early 20s, maybe mid 20s. So it's like, I don't wish I would took those experiences away. Like starting, some people might start bodybuilding at 18 and they never had that like social aspect because they were so focused on bodybuilding. So what I think, what turned me into who I am today is I had all these great experiences in my early 20s. Did these travels, did this, met Ivana, did so much fun, her journey, following her, to the shows and learning about it. And then that turned me into who I am today. I got that all out of my system, if you know what I mean. So like now I don't drink or anything like that, because I had that fun. I'm over it. I don't need to drink. I don't need to do drugs. It's just like I've experienced those things. I'm moving on, and I know what I'm focused on, and that's bodybuilding and becoming the best bodybuilder in the world. And I can give that 110% every day. And it's like, that's why people ask, like, how are you so motivated? How are you so driven? Why don't you get distracted by these things? It's just like, because I had that fun, and now I know what I want to do with my life, and I am fully, 100% committed. So that's, a little bit about me, and that's where we're at right now. All right, another personal one here. Do you ever miss Iowa? So I'm from Waterloo, Noah, another Iowa boy. So yes, I was originally from Iowa. It's a small state in the Midwest, if you don't know where that is. And no, I don't miss it. I'm sorry. I really don't. I miss family and I miss friends. But, there's once we kind of moved out there, took that risk to, leave family, leave friends, and come out here. We're in Denver currently. It was one of the greatest decisions we ever made. Favorite moment in prep before peak week? Obviously peak week is, part of the favorite moment because it kind of all comes to a conclusion. But before that, it's just some of those training sessions, man. When especially, that 4 to 6 week out mark when things are really firing and stuff, and you're mentally locked in and, you want to be the best so badly. There's some great memories from there. We captured a lot of those memories, leading up, with that. There's a really good leg day we captured, and, it's replayed a lot. So it's just like training with your buddies, training with your training partners, and just, going all in together, and feeling fulfilled when you're done. You know what I mean? So, I was also able to do, I did quite a bit of traveling this prep. One trip was out to California for the Arnold it was a video shoot, promotional thing. And that was very memorable. I went to Gold's, which was cool to be back there. It was super nice out the whole time. We had a cool video shoot and everything. So that was really, really, really cool with this one. What are the top things you look for a good training partner? Probably just intensity, man. Like, you want a training partner that's going to be just as intense as you. Also, kind of, they know what they're doing. So it's like, you got to get your training partner that knows how to spot. And that's just going to be, I'm just being real. It's like, because especially with me, I, put myself in situations under a lot of weight or a certain movement that you need to have a training partner that knows when to help, or knows when you're failing, knows, how things should operate, and they're just precise, you know what I mean? So obviously training partners aren't always great right at the beginning. You could throw two like really good pros together and they might not click, but it's going to take some time. So that's what a training partner is. You build up that relationship. You figure out how each other, lift, train, where their failing points are. So if you need help, things like that. So it just takes a little bit of time. But the main thing is just, you want somebody that's going to show up on time. That's going to be huge. Is make sure your training partner shows up on time, or the relationship starts, collapsing. So time is huge, and then also just intensity. And it's not so much about weight. It does help if your training partner is like decently strong or close to as strong as you are, because then you don't have to move as many plates or whatever. But that's not a necessity. I've trained with guys that are much weaker than I am, but they go all out, and that's what I'm all about. I'm seeing them improve, seeing them grow, seeing them progress, and that just from their intensity, from their dedication, and that's what I love to see. Do you keep HGH so a drug question here, do you keep HGH in the last couple of weeks of prep? I personally, no. I guess I don't know what everybody else does, but I personally do not. Kind of a rule of thumb with HGH leading into a show is most people take it out 10 to 14 days out, maybe 7 to 14 days out, because it does make you hold extra water. So the reason of taking it out is you will drop a little bit of water. Usually drop probably 3 to 5 pounds just from taking HGH out. Because it does give you that fuller look. It lubricates. It gives you more water to the muscles. So when you take it out, it kind of dries you out a little bit. It shows a little bit more. So that's kind of the process of that. Cheat meals during prep? ? I'm not sure what that question is. Like, do I do cheat meals? I was probably doing a cheat meal once a week for the first 5 weeks or I was once or twice a week for the first 5 weeks of prep. And then it kind of slows down. Everybody's going to be absolutely different on that, so don't ask that question being like, you probably shouldn't ask me that question, because I probably do a little bit more cheat meals. The thing is, I don't really call them cheat meals, I call them refeed meals, because they're all set in stone. So like all I did this last prep was either Five Guys, which my order was 2 cheeseburgers and fries, or sushi, all you could eat sushi, but I would eat like 30 or 35 pieces of sushi per session. So it was just consistent, because then I knew how I picked those 2 things because I knew how my body would digest them, and then they are kind of always the same. So when we threw in a refeed, it was like, okay, well, we know exactly how much food this is going to be, and whether, and we'll see, we know what's going to do as well. So more so what we do is refeed meals. You can call them cheat meals, but they're actually structured and into the plan. And then obviously those slowed down as we got closer to the show, and we're trying to lean out more. How to cut for the show without muscle loss? That's kind of the question of bodybuilding, right? You're trying to cut for a show with the least amount of muscle loss. So it's the people that figure out that the best are the ones that are gonna win. So, main thing is you gotta keep your protein high. If you're going super low in protein, you're obviously gonna lose more muscles. EAAs help with that, with muscle recovery, from the breakdown. High and low days, because we keep refuel, or cheat meals to kind of refuel after, a couple days, or, mattering on the person, depletion. So you need to keep kind of refueling. You don't want to just like deplete the whole prep. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to go straight to no carb and run that all the way to the show. When and what got you started on your bodybuilding career? So that was in 2017 is when I first competed in Classic Physique. It was at the Omaha show. And I, went in there, and that was just kind of a process. I was living the lifestyle before that. I've kind of talked about this before, but I'll go into it again real quick. With Ivana, competing as a professional, all over the world even, so I was living the lifestyle with her, and I got to a point where I was getting, pretty big in regards to most people, and, I've held some good muscle and stuff, and was training really hard because I've always loved to train. I went to school for that, for exercise science, play college football, so that was always ingrained in me. And so I kind of applied that into bodybuilding, met the wife. She taught me how to eat more, because I was severely under eating, because I didn't know about that process. So started eating so much more and living the lifestyle. So in 2017, I decided to do a show, just because I had never dieted before. So, I put on this muscle, still looked pretty good, but people were asking me, hey, can you train me? Can you coach me? And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't know. I've never even dieted before. So it was about, I wanted to do a show just to go through the process of dieting. Of course, at the time, I was like, hey, babe, I just want to do one show to learn how to diet. I just want to do one show to learn how to diet so I can help other people out. And then I went to that show, and I won. I think I even did the novice, maybe true novice, and open. And I won every category. And then that's when the judges were like, yeah, you go junior nationals next week. And I went to junior nationals the next week, and then got third to the junior nationals out of 40 dudes in my first show, or my first national show. So that's when I kind of realized, hey, this is something I could be good at. Thoughts on deadlifts? specifically frequency of variation selection. So deadlifts are great. Of course they are. I mean, they're going to be some of the most like posterior chain and, you know, back development is going to help with that. Adding size, you know, how you set up your split. It might be best to do on hamstring day. It might be best to do on back day, because it does work both. Or you can like change up, like I said, you can change up the how you deadlift to be a little bit more, you know, lower half oriented or upper half. What age did you start gear? So getting back into that question, I started when I was 26, so 25 or 26. Like I said, I let myself get as far naturally as I could. You know, and for me that was like 190 pounds. You know, looked good. You know, looked good for a natural person and stuff. But then, then that's when I was kind of wanted to take the next level and see what I could do. And that was probably when I was 26 there. So, like I said, you don't need to start too early. Do what you can as far as you can, and then I continue to say this, so this is probably going to be what you get the most out of this video, is do the most with the least. So I did the most what I could with, naturally, and then started the process of, PEDs with the least and getting the most out of it after that. So plan to have kids. I think we do. We definitely do plan to have kids. When, that's something we look at in the years ahead, probably sooner than later. We do talk about that, so that will be something. I don't know if it'll be live after bodybuilding or, during bodybuilding once, in these few years to come. But kids will definitely be on the way. Favorite specific memory from the Arnold Classic meeting, if you had to choose one? Probably post-show, honestly, for me. Because it wasn't like, I wasn't going to be upset about it. Like I said, that's all part of the journey, the learning experience. But I had, some of my closest friends came out. My whole family was there. Both sides, Yvonne's parents, my parents. And, we went out to eat, we went to dinner afterwards. And it was just fun. Finally you could relax. There's a little bit of, no stress. Just you and your closest ones talking about stories. And it was just a very, very good time. How fat is it acceptable, in your opinion, to get while training to gain as much size as possible? So how fat should someone get while they're trying to gain size? A good rule of thumb there is, like, for men, you probably don't want to get over like 18%. So anywhere between 15 to 18% body fat is probably the highest you should be. I don't ever measure my body fat, but like if I got up to 18%, I probably would go try to check and see how high I was. But, there comes a point of no returns. You know what I mean? If you're getting into that 25, 30% body fat, like, you're not even seeing anything. And then the main thing is you're just setting up yourself in a big hole. So when prep comes around and you start dieting, you're either going to have to absolutely kill yourself, or you're going to have like a 20 week prep just to get down lean enough. So how did you bring your delts up? That's a good one. So I personally brought my delts up the most by focusing on more lateral raises. This may be different for many people, because like I remember at first, and this is one thing that me and kind of Matt actually, he always stressed, pressing. I think, he still does, but, I did that for years. But once I switched over to the lateral, focused on the laterals, a lot of things changed for me. I started seeing more roundness, more fullness in my shoulders. Obviously, I would still just press. I press just like once per shoulder session. I usually do at the end when I'm tired. I used to do like 2 or 3 presses early on and then raises at the end. And I didn't see my shoulders weren't very good back then. Now I would say they're much bigger, thicker, rounder, fuller. And it's because, I do like 3 different side lateral raises. So what I do is I'll do like 2 rear delts, 2 or 3 sides, 1 front, and then I'll do 1 press. And I think that's, for me, that has been the best setup for shoulder development, is the rears first, sides, 3 sides, one front raise, and then 1 press. But you need to try different, like I said, you need to try different things, because different things for different people. And that's, that's how you learn, is trial and error. All right, we'll do a few more here. I'm going to roll through them. Have you read Winning by Tim Grover? If not, you should. Best book I've ever read. I have read Winning by Tim Grover, and I think everybody should read Winning by Tim Grover. It's about Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. He was their personal trainer pretty much, and it kind of goes into their mindset of things, and he just gives examples of who they were, and it's crazy. The work ethic involved, how they held themselves. So I do advise doing it. Hack squats or leg press? Both. Most times actually in quad sessions I do both. So those are both very, very good for legs. Just find, you know, some days do hacks first, some days do leg press first, switch up the tempo, switch up the exercise, you know, sequence, things like that. What do you think you need to bring up the most since the Arnold? You know, overall a little bit more of everything. You know, it's just time and development for me. I will say I want more leg thickness, you know, especially in the quads. I did a lot of focus on my hamstrings this last off season. They did come up, and it was really cool to see. They came up quite a bit. You know, because my quads kind of grew first, and then my hams back. Now I have my hands pretty good, and so now I just need to continue to work on the outer sweep more in the quads. And so I have a plan in place. You know, already hitting it. They're fine right now, actually, because I trained yesterday, and I barely can sit down right now. It's awkward, but we're gonna keep that up, and I'm definitely gonna fulfill that. While bulking, you take breaks and drop calories for better insulin response. So yes, you can't just, even how I do it, especially in off season, is on my off days. So, you know, I'll train 5 days, 2 days off, is I'll eat less on off days. So lower calories, you know, kind of reset digestion. You're not training that day, so you don't need as much food. It kind of just gives you a little bit of a break from the food, as well as just like a mental break, but also your digestion a break. And then that next day, you're more sensitive to food as well. Can you share more about the jump from working full-time to becoming a full-time bodybuilder? What I need to share more of is just, I came to a point that I can be a full-time bodybuilding. And, you know, that was just through the work to get to that point. You know, one thing I was always really good at is I made sure, even when I started this journey, like competing wise, and like Ivana was like, you know, she knew, you know, we didn't know how I was going to get to what I am today, you know, being able to do this full time. But one thing is, like, as a man, I always handled my business, you know what I mean? So I was still working, you know, I was working 50 to 60 hours a week at one point, you know, between, I was working as a home mortgage consultant. I would work, you know, another 14 hours at the bars on the weekend as a bartender just for extra cash. So I always took care of business, and then on top of that, I would get up at 5 in the morning and train before work. Did you get emotional after the show, like on your way back home? I mean, no, we're just gonna end it on this one. So, what are you doing? Come here. Stop messing around. Stop messing around. All right. Definitely emotional, but it was more, you know, hell today. It wasn't like I was crying or anything like that. I was just like, it's just like when you're working so hard for something for, you know, 14 weeks, and then for it just to, you know, be done and it all over, it's just like, it's feelings you can't describe. You're just kind of in a limbo, honestly. You just feel lost for a little bit. Thing is, I've experienced this before. A lot of you, maybe if you haven't done a show yet, you'll do your show and then you get done. You're like, what's next? You almost feel lost for a few days. And so with this being such a big show and a big moment, it was like one of those feelings like, damn, you know, now I'm back, you know, back to the real world kind of thing. But no, I know how to handle it now. And like, for me, it's just, it was almost more, not so much emotional, but it was so much more motivated. So as long as you can turn in, like, maybe, and I wouldn't say that I had a negative, but I'm good at turning negatives into positives, and, you know, through experience over the years. And so that's kind of where I'm at now is, you know, we're going to turn this into positive. We're going to kick ass ahead, you know, and I'm going to be, you know, so much better moving forward. So that's where we're at. So I'm going to end on that note. This was fun. You know, kind of rambled on there, but I wanted to answer as many questions as you guys had. I didn't get close to answering them all, but I'll do more of these. So I'll keep popping up and doing these ahead. And like I said, I'll have a lot of news this week kind of dropping. We're going to get some videos out of kind of my next steps in regards to, you know, sponsorship, in regards to what this year is going to look like, and, you know, the fun things that are planned ahead. So until next time, I'll see you guys. Remember to keep on, you know, let's keep blowing this up. I want to put so much, you know, more effort and time into this. So I just need you guys to keep viewing this, you know, sharing it so others will, liking and subscribing, of course. So if you aren't subscribed, make sure you do down below, and let's keep doing this. I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks.